Hi, have you ever thought about buying property in an auction? Well, there's one going on in Bangkok. Let's see if there's any deals for you. Hi, I'm Gerald.Enright. I'm coming to you from my home here in Bangkok, Thailand. Due to some exposure to COVID within our staff, I need to quarantine, so I'm coming to you from my home here in Bangkok, Thailand. Today, I'm going to cover with you an article which I found about some auctions going on for property located in Bangkok, Thailand. Is it a good deal? Let's go through the article, let's check it out, and I'll give you my thoughts on what I think about this auction and maybe add a little bit to the mixture to see if you think it's something that you're interested in. Let's switch over to my computer and we'll go through and check it out together. This article is brought to you by the coronavirus pandemic. This publication I'm not familiar with, but it was sent to me from one of our clients. So the headline reads, after rebates and freebies, Thai developers to auction flats online in a bid to shake off a supply glut. So COVID-19 anti-government protests combined to weaken the Thai property market, scaring buyers away from a worsening supply glut. Some 120 projects across the Southeast Asia country will be put up for online bidding at big discounts next month. So let's take a look in, let's see what they have to say. So I'll read some of this to you. After dangling rebates and freebies to attract buyers, Thai developers are trying out a new strategy to trim their inventory of unsold homes and by auctioning them online at deep discounts. Let's keep reading and I'll give you my ideas on this. Some 120 flats in several projects across the Southeast Asian country, being Thailand, will be made available for bidding next month on Y Border. That's a website. It's here's Y Border. Let me just center it for you. So here's Y Border website. Apparently they're going to be auctioning on this website. So let's keep reading on. It says that Y Border is an online property portal owned and operated by a Singapore-based company. The flats are expected to be offered at 20 to 40% below their selling prices. What do I think of that? I think it's a good discount. I think that's you know, if you can get a property at 40% off, it's my question being 40% off what starting price. So you may want to just take a look and feel if it's really good value for you. Each project will be a little bit different. What we are finding in the market is on resale properties as well, is we can get a similar type of discount on some distressed properties. So not all properties, but some distressed properties are discounted this much. So just to let you know, this is not your only option, but it is a nice, good option for you to give a try. So it says the apartments range from studio units to penthouses, starting from Hong Kong 388, 49,893 US dollars. In Thai baht, that's about 1.6. So that's a pretty low price for Bangkok, and it is attainable price in some of the suburbs, and we'll take a look at that in just a minute. Where are these properties located? And it says, among the projects in Bangkok to be included in the promotion are the Maru Lat Prao 15 in Jadajak. Jadajak is over here. Okay, so Lat Prao, Jadajak. This is where the weekend market is, up around here. This is pretty well, this area would be the core of downtown. It takes about, I don't know, on the highway, maybe 30 minutes between downtown and up here. So it's not core downtown. And the high Sukhumvit 11, Sukhumvit 11 is downtown, and it would be about this area. So that is a desirable property for foreign investors. You may want to take a look at that one in Klong Toi. That's the neighborhood that we service, and most of our buyers are foreign buyers. And they talk about another one here, the Manor in Nonthaburi. Nonthaburi is a province just north of Bangkok. Here it is, here's the border. You can see the border line. So we're talking about this area, which is going to involve you crossing the river to get downtown. Again, what do I think? Prices are low in that area, yes, but it's not highly desirable as a rental area for a foreigner to own, nor as an area that a lot of foreigners want to live in because of the need to have a car to get around from that area. You can take buses and so forth, but it is not as convenient as other countries. Let's read on. The auction is seen as an attempt by developers to overcome excess supply as buyers disappeared amid the economic slowdown caused by COVID-19 pandemic. A series of potential political crises and street protests preceding the public health crisis has also conspired to drive away foreign investors, compounding the glut. What do I think of the protests? I think they're not of concern for a foreigner living in Thailand, nor are they a great concern or danger to people wanting to invest here. We don't see terrible turmoil. They're fairly well behaved. They're limited to certain areas, and they are very important for the protesters, no doubt. But if you think it's going to be a danger or affect the value of your property, I don't think it's going to be significant in any way. A lot of people talk about Bangkok oversupply. Let's take a look at the following statement. Bangkok has an oversupply of flats where developers are very keen to actually sell off a certain percentage of stock at a considerable discount, said Dave Liu, founder and chief executive of the auction site. So this is the runner of the operator of the auction site that we looked at, Wide Border, and he has been talking to developers and they want to clear some stock. So obviously what you're going to get here is what the developer wants to offer at a discount. You would want to really check your unit, make sure it's located where you want, on the floor that you want, that kind of thing. The view is the view you want. Well, my experience with developers is they tier the prices in the project depending on, of course, the more prime units, the higher the floors, the better views, the better direction of facing and ventilation. Those are going to command a higher price. I would suspect that some of these units might be what they consider like second tier, something on the ground floor and that may not have a great view or a blocked view. So do check that out if you're checking your property on the auction site, that you're getting something that you feel is good value. Like other countries in Southeast Asia, Thailand has recently seen a surge in COVID-19 cases. So yes, our third wave is much stronger than the first and second. It is quite serious. We're still in kind of cross-border lockdown, and even travel among some Thai provinces is restricted. So we are still under a curfew, we're still under a lot of restrictions. So keep that in mind. We're not at the same point as other countries. But it says the government has announced plans to reopen the capital of Bangkok. The latest news I got on that was November 1st. If you have 2 injections, you can enter Bangkok without quarantine. The island resort of Pattaya is open. It's currently open in what they call the sandbox program, where you get all your documentation, your tests and your inoculations, and then you go and spend 7 days in a hotel, and then you can continue your vacation by freely moving about Phuket. But you cannot leave Phuket. They are expanding to some of the islands now, so you can go to some of the islands, but it is contained within Phuket. After 14 days, you can then venture out beyond Phuket if you test negative and visit the rest of Thailand. So Phuket is acting kind of as a quarantine area for people to enter the country through. But on November 1st, the plan is that Bangkok, if you have inoculations, you can come directly into the country without any quarantine. Okay, let's read on. Thailand's economy expanded 7.5% in the second quarter from a year earlier. Surprisingly on the upside. Yet, the spread of the Delta variant has cast a pall on the outlook as central bank and other state planning agencies trimmed their growth forecast for 2021. I'd say to anyone who's investing, here is a good time to invest from the capital perspective. If you're hoping for revenue off your property, then you need to factor in that the country is not yet open, and that while you're getting a great purchase price, you're going to have to wait a little bit to start collecting that rent. So in your plan, you should be planning for that. Next month's online auction has attracted a good level of interest from property hunters in Singapore, Lou said. So that's good to hear. There's some interest in this. They are also expected to draw attention from Hong Kongers who are either seeking retirement homes or planning to emigrate. That's interesting in that immigration and to Thailand is not a trivial matter. So if you are planning to buy and use it as a retirement home or to immigrate to Thailand, do check out the requirements for these things. To actually immigrate and get landed immigrant status is not common. They are looking at investor visas. Maybe I'll do another video on that. They're trying to loosen up some requirements on investor visas that would give you a 10-year visa when you buy a property over a certain value. So that's maybe something you want to research a little bit on Google. So yeah, if you're looking at coming on a retirement visa, do check that out, because there are certain requirements, certain minimum level of income, certain amount of deposit, and you need to be sure that this you're comfortable with before you say, oh, I'm buying a property, then you find out afterwards you can't do what you wanted to do with it. Okay. So a little bit more on the auction. Like global online marketplace eBay, the properties will carry a buy now option. So apparently you can click on a button and buy it at the price they're asking. Buyers seeking more discounts can join the bidding process over a 7-day period, and the winner will be decided by the highest bid above the undisclosed reserve price. So take that for what you will. If you like that kind of bidding, that's great. I'd like to know the reserve price, but kind of makes your bidding a little bit more effective, but who am I? The developers may contact unsuccessful bidders at the end of the auction and offer them some alternative flat units that suit their bidding prices. My question, is this a ploy to attract people who are interested by and not really offer them what they wanted? Meaning, okay, you have a lower budget, I'll give you something lower. Good, but they should be upfront with that. So this article is saying that you can expect to be contacted in case your bid didn't win, and offer some alternatives. As such, the developers may be able to close more sales. There's always leeway for more negotiations, Lou added. So I'm not sure about this website, how binding your bid is, whether you can negotiate further if you're a successful bidder. Maybe that's a question to ask on the website and see how that turns out. The local real estate market has been struggling with oversupply in the last 5 years. Developers have launched more than 230,000 flats in Bangkok, including 60,000 units in 2018, according to property consultancy Colliers. In the last 2 years, launches have slowed to 20,000 units a year. So yeah, is there an oversupply? In my opinion, I think if you look nationwide, yes. If you look downtown, it gets much tighter because it is a prime area. So what happens if prime areas are snatched up, other areas that are not as lucrative as an investment, they tend to waffle in the wind a little bit, and I think there was a lot of expectations for Chinese buyers a couple of years ago, and then the Chinese government kind of cracked down, so developers got ahead of the game building some units. So there are a supply of units. I also say look at the type of unit that you're looking at. So in a 1-bedroom and a studio, there is a huge oversupply that needs to be taken up before they're building more. And in fact, developers are migrating away from building these type of projects right now and looking more into townhomes and small developments that target the local buyer. So as they say in this article, they are kind of slowing down on building this type of buy investment property for 1 bedroom where you might use it later on in retirement, rent it out now and then retire to it, that type of thing. In projects, these comprise the majority of units. If you built one tower, a lot of the units are 60 to 70% are 1 bedrooms, and then 2 and 3 bedrooms become much less. So in the market, you want to consider that too. If you are bidding on properties and you get some 2-bedroom properties at a great price, that might be something to consider. And also keep in mind the location, because some of these outlying locations are going to be not income properties. You can live in them. You need to look at the lifestyle about moving in and out of to and from where you want to go. So if you like to be downtown and you're commuting a lot, factor that in. While if you're familiar with Thailand, you know there's a couple great ways to get around. That would be the underground MRT, they call it, the metro, and the BTS, which is the SkyTrain. These are the very efficient ways to get around. If you can get something near that and you want to live in an outlying area, that's perfect. If you plan to take a bus, the system is quite atrocious on surface routes, meaning they get stuck in traffic all the time. They're not that reliable. So do think about that, because if you're familiar with buses in other cities that are very efficient, the system here is a little bit more ad hoc. So factor that in if you do decide to be off the major kind of mass transit routes and want to use surface transportation, that you need to factor in the transportation, what do you call it? The traffic and travel times. Okay. So they're wrapping up here. We expect that the second half of the year, the new supply of residential property will increase and likely to be higher than the first half on the back of rising demands, said this guy. I'm going to try to say his name. Patarachai Tawiwong, Director of Research and Communications at Collier in Thailand. So that's the article. I'm going to stop sharing my screen with you guys. That's the article. It's really interesting. I haven't seen this kind of thing before. So if you're keen on kind of competitive bidding or finding some diamonds, that's great, especially in new builds. I think you really want to keep in mind where exactly you're buying and what exactly you're buying, so you don't get saddled with something you weren't expecting. Other than that, how do I compare it to other properties that I know in the market? I think that you could get similar discounts on some resale units, which I may favor if the location is a little bit more central. There are also, like the Hyde 11, I would think that's a great location. So if you can get that, you know, downtown at a good price, I'd go for it. But understand that developers are offering similar incentive, just not online. So maybe that's something you want to look into too, is contact an agent or a developer to see what promotions are going on, because I do know that property is selling with these kind of discounts. New builds are selling with these kind of discounts through an agent or through the developer. So you might not want to get into the pressure of an auction. If you want to shop a little bit more, know that that option is open to you. I'm Gerald.Enright. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to get all my new videos as they come out. Thank you very much, and until next time, I'm Gerald.Enright, coming to you from my beautiful home here in Bangkok, Thailand.